I'd like to call to order council meeting of Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Township of Black River, Mass acknowledges the Apatippi and Assiniboine Nation traditional territory. We live, play, and work here together, and together we shall build a strong and inclusive community. A reminder to all in attendance that council meetings are recorded and made available to the public on the township website for review. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Gaddery. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of January 14th, 2025 be approved. Any Councillor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to add a discussion for the previous items for the RFP for the forensic audit, also the lawyer, and then RFP for integrity commissioner. We haven't seen them go.
Okay. Everybody in favor of adding that discussion to the agenda?
Yeah.
We're good for that? Where do we add that to? Which one is that? Yeah. And then we'll have one. Okay. Probably the bottom. Okay, so if I can get a mover and a seconder to amend that. Councillor Gaddery, Councillor Gaddery, and Councillor Kempson. Okay. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of January 14th, 2025 be approved as amended. All in favor?
I'd like to add something else.
Oh.
Real quick.
Okay, 2 items.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a quick discussion on the bulldozer, if we might not be able to get answers today, but just a discussion on the bulldozer.
Everybody's in favor of that? Bulldozer, yeah. Okay, good. I'll redo that. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of January 14th, 2025 be approved as amended. All in favor? Carried. And we're gonna add that under 11A and 11B. Or do you want RFPs as for 3 different items, Councillor? You want them as 3 different items or 1 item?
One item is good.
Okay, so A and B. Perfect. Moving along, disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Anyone have one? Nope. No adoption of minutes, consent agenda. Be it resolved that the consent agenda items listed on the January 14th, 2025 council agenda, specifically items 5A to 5C, be received by council, and further that the motions contained therein are hereby supported as written. Questions or comments? Nope. All in favor? Carried. Delegation to new business 7A. Moved by Councillor Gaddery, second by Councillor Charbonneau. Be it resolved that council hereby recognizes the month of January 2025 as Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Questions or comments? Nope. And I'd just like to bring to light that last Friday, I believe, was Councillor Bouchard and I went to the Family Lodge and we met with representatives from the Alzheimer's Society, and we held a flag, which we're going to go and install sometime this week, I believe. So as giving them support, and they have asked that if they would come in and they'd like to make a presentation in the near future as to what Alzheimer's is and awareness and the stigma attached to it. So we've welcomed them, and I'm sure we'll hear from them soon as to a date for that. So that resolution, all in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, second by Councillor Allen. Be it resolved that council direct the incoming Director of Public Services, to bring a report which includes an update on the status of Monahan Road, including any existing engineering reports and options for its repair, to our next regular meeting. Any questions or comments on that? Councilor Gathering?
Could we add Valgonia Road to that since the reports were done at the same time?
Okay, everybody's in favor of doing that then? Okay. I'll just add that myself. Be it resolved that council directs the incoming Director of Public Services to bring a report which includes an update on status of Monahan Road and Valgonia Road, including any existing engineering reports and options for its repair, to our next regular meeting. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Kempsel. Be it resolved that council directs the incoming Director of Public Services to bring a report outlining the benefits and impact of closing the section of Pine Road, which includes the bridge, as well as the procedure for moving forward of the sale, disposition of the closed road, to our next regular meeting. Questions or comments? Councillor Allen.
I spoke with Jonas Martin today and he advised me, because I asked him if they would be interested, the owners of the farms there. Norman Martin, I believe, and I can't remember what the other one was. But if they would be interested in purchasing that land, should we decide to sell it? And he said, yes, they would be interested as long as the bridge was kept intact or there was a way for them to keep that section kind of open.
Okay.
So maybe putting private signs on either side and stuff like that. So I just wanted to make aware that
Okay.
that's a possibility. And they seem okay with it.
Our Director of Public Services is here tonight, so I'm sure he's gonna mark that down and come in his report. That's the only comment that they had about that?
Yeah.
Councillor Bouchard.
This works, sir. Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a question for that road. Is there any other land owned by other people in that past the bridge and around? Or is it just the Mennonites that own land there?
I'm gonna refer that question to our Director of Public Services. I think he's already done some preliminary information. Mr. Jager?
If I could, worship through you, I did talk to the owner of the property on the other side of the bridge who is a Mennonite. There is 5 acres of vacant land there that we could still potentially sell. That they would also be willing to entertain in purchasing as well as actually purchasing the bridge in its general state as it is right now. So I am in conversations and I'll bring an updated report at the next meeting on a couple of different options and discussions that I have with the property.
Any other questions? Perfect, thank you, Mr. Jager. Regarding the resolution, all in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, seconded by Councillor Gattery. Be it resolved that council approves the attendance of Mayor Diamond and Director of Public Services Gilles Jager to attend the 2025 Good Roads Conference. Questions, comments? Councillor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just curious, because there's no price, how much does this cost?
On the link is the registration form for the conference itself. It was $9.50. And then to that, we would have to add hotel accommodations for, I believe, 2 nights. I think it's a 3-day conference, so 2 nights.
Okay, so we're members and we're early bird.
Yes. Yep. Any other questions, comments? No. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Gattery. Whereas Regulation 559 1990 of Health Protection and Promotion Act directs how municipal appointments are distributed. And whereas the townships of Iroquois Falls and Black River Masson have been designated one seat on the Northeastern Public Health Board to be shared. And whereas the board has requested confirmation of each member municipality's desired representation by way of resolution. Now for there be resolved that council of the corporation of the township of Black River Masson supports the appointment of Tori Delorier, Iroquois Falls Mayor, as our joint representative on the Northeastern Public Health Board. Any questions or comments on this? All those in favor? Carried. Move on to reports 9A. Moved by Councillor Guthrie, second by Councillor Charbonneau. Be it resolved that council direct the town manager to enter into negotiations with the owner of 421 Fifth Avenue in Masson, respecting the terms of a short-term lease to accommodate the office space required for town hall operations while a permanent solution is explored. I'll open it up for questions or comments. Councillor Bouchard.
Is this gonna come up a little later for more discussion or like for this particular thing?
Couldn't.
Do we have any other options that we're looking?
Well, in the report, you'll see that, given probably given the timeline that the developer wants to get in there in March so that he can get his business running and start paying his taxes, we're sort of handcuffed as where we can go. But furthermore, in order that we can consolidate our council chambers and our office space, so that this space is available for more rental and saves being torn down twice a week and set up twice a week. The only option that we had was 421 Fifth Avenue. Town manager did look at the OPP station as an option, but it's 2 stories. So it makes wiring for internet and security services difficult. And the stairs, I think, are very steep, so would pose a safety risk other than putting in an elevator, and it's not wide open. So from my point of view, looking at 421 Fifth Avenue, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's wide open. So that will give the option for us to move in there temporarily until we find a spot to where we can go. Meets our time requirements, but also I guess the vision that you had would be that when you walk in there, it's wide open. We're not going to segregate it with offices and hide behind cubicles and plants. And that's, I think, a goal of one of our council is to be more transparent, more open. So other than that, we don't have much options in terms of space within the town or time. But this is just going to give us time to figure out where can we go. Can we take an existing building and reuse it? Can we build another building? It's the options are wide open, but at least we're going to meet the timelines for the sale of the municipal office.
Yeah, just my only concern was we have about 12 vehicles parked at the municipal building right now. And there's already a complaint from the district chief about people parking at the fire hall, which is behind this building. I'm not sure if there's gonna be room there to park 12 extra vehicles, because I went by there twice today and it's actually, people are actually parked at the fire hall. That's the only concern really is that. And I guess my other question was, I guess we did look at the old museum to see if there's any way that could be used, but not sure what kind of state that's in.
The museum, I'm sure, is going to come up for budget purposes again, that many people want to open, so I wouldn't want to put ourselves in a position where we want to open it, but we can't because we're occupying it. As for parking, our municipal compliance officer is going to have to figure out a solution between the fire department And possibly if we can secure this position or this place, but he'll have to come up with a solution as to where everybody can park. Obviously, the fire department's gonna get the first priority. But for years, it's never been clearly marked as to who parks where.
Yeah.
So that would be the first issue that we'd have to do.
Okay.
That's, yeah, parking would be the only issue that I could think of, but I think town manager is gonna have a, when he enters the negotiation, I'll just bring a comment, I'll have to ensure you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Nope. Regarding that resolution, all in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Guthrie, be it resolved that council receive report number T 2025-01 from the Office of the Treasurer. Any questions or comments on this report? No? Oh, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My only issue with the report, I didn't notice it in the last budget reports, but I went back and looked. There's just no headings. Like you can't categorize each section. Like it doesn't say administration, then all the budget underneath administration, it doesn't say public works, and it's just all one lump.
Okay. Ms. Larson, did you want to comment on that? I know that's just a screenshot that you sent us through to give us an idea, but is there? This isn't going to be our formal report coming forward?
Through the mayor to council, and speaking with the town manager, he was talking of coming up with a different reporting style where there would be more
Okay.
structure.
Yep.
If you want to call it.
I guess, can we just say this is just a screenshot as to where we are as of the end of the year? Like how much we've budgeted for and how much we've spent? Is that a good capture of this report?
Is that a capture of this report? I need your attention.
Yeah, so if we look at that report, we can see how much we had budgeted to spend and how much we spent. That's basically what this report is telling us.
Financials,
Yes,
yes.
Okay.
And as I stated, in those financials, there's still quite a few outstanding 2024 invoices as
Mhm.
well.
and I will say, having spent some time in the office, that the Treasury Department is working hard, but I don't know enough about numbers, but I do know that we're having issues finding invoices and correlating numbers, so I commend your department for getting this far with these numbers, because it's hasn't been the easiest trek so far. I do have a question myself, and I saw a ledger report for the worker bee committee for $54,000 and change. Would that have been from 2023? I'm not too sure we even belong to the worker bees in 2024.
Through the mayor to council, from one end, from where I fall, worker bees was all cashed out. And I could say there may not be all the journal entries done to date.
Mhm.
So I am finding quite a few that aren't. But if it's showing as an actual value, nothing budgeted, then it's probably had been pulled and transferred.
Okay. So I'm assuming we won't see that again because we're not in there anymore.
In 2025, there will be nothing.
Right, okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments? I'm gonna ask a question, no one else is going to. But on the second portion. The we talk about the past due reminders, the ones from December the fifth was our last one. And sending out a past due reminder in 2025 regarding 2024.
Mayor to council, tax bills will be going out the 1st of February. So there won't be any past due reminders sent out.
Okay, so will that be added to the beginning of January's amount?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And my final question will be towards the town manager and treasurer. I'm not sure the exact verbiage, but anybody that has a past due account of 3 years plus is when we can take action. I know a lot of towns have moved towards 2 years. I've heard word that some people are coming in on the 3-year anniversary, paying their past due amount for 1 year, making them compliant, and then we're holding the bag for the next year. So I'd be entertaining to get a report as to what the implications are of moving that from the 3-year threshold to the 2-year threshold. Because that's our township money, that's our money, that's our residents' money as well. So I don't know if there'd be cost implications other than creating the report, or if it's a registry. So I'll open that up for discussion. Councilor, Ms. Larson.
To the mayor to council. So the tax registration process, municipal, a tax registration can occur once 2 years in arrears. It was past management that left it at 3 years. Town manager and I have already discussed this, and we will be changing it to 2 years. Come 2025, January, we will be starting the tax registration process for any tax accounts that are 2 years in arrears.
Okay, so we don't need anything from council?
Well, mayor to council, we will probably bring through like a new bylaw saying
Okay.
that this is how we're going to move forward come
Okay.
2025.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? No. All in favor? Oh, Councillor Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering, what are the exact fees currently for any of the past due taxes?
Through mayor to council. Currently, we have Real Tax that does the tax registration process for us. I have been in contact with them. They have an up-to-date schedule of fees for every separate process or stage you get through with tax registration. There's a fee for them. This fee is added to the tax roll that is being tax registered. So it really is at no cost to the municipality. It's going on the tax roll with hopes that the person's going to come in and pay off the taxes, right? And if not, then it goes through tax registration, it goes through the sale. We recoup those fees when the property is sold at that point.
Councillor Allen?
My next question would be, do the fees change for the length of time that they are overdue? So let's say over a year, is it a consistent one set fee? So then if you don't pay your taxes for 1 year, you're getting charged, let's say 5%. And then the next year you're getting charged 5%. So there's no additional fees for it being so long past due. Like my suggestion would be once it hits the 1 year mark of the fees not being paid, that we would up the percentage for the second year. Because if they don't pay it for the second year, there has to be repercussions for them not paying it, and they're already not paying the interest and they know that. So come the second year, why wouldn't we up that so that we can have more of an influx of funds, unless it's against things and stuff.
Ms. Larson?
Mayor and council. So every stage of tax registration, so the first stage, all we're doing is we're issuing well, Real Tax does this for us.
Yeah.
They issue the owner of the property. It's called a farm debt notice, and I'm not gonna be able to tell you every step.
Yep.
But that's issued to a property owner. With the hopes that it's, oh, you know, I forgot to pay and I'm gonna come in and pay.
Yeah.
There's then the next stage. Everything is so many number of days before you can legally move on to the next process. So if we have a property in tax registration, because we started the process this year. It takes a year before that property will actually go to a tax sale. That property is in tax registration this year. Next year, it's not gonna get more because it's already in the tax registration process. The only way to get it out is not to pay your taxes off or go into a payment arrangement with the municipality to ensure that your taxes are up to date and you're paying the past due amounts off. So there is no, well, what do we do next year? Because it's already in a process, it's already being charged. And it's a follow through to ensure that this property either pays their taxes or it's going to end up in tax sale.
Any other questions or comments on the treasury report? Councilor Bouchard.
Just to add to, Councilor Allen's, comment, I think it should be a little bit more of a penalty that to give people an incentive to pay their bills, because otherwise they just pay the 5%, like she said, then you get away with it. And they can get away with that for years doing that. So we just need to look at what other municipalities are doing if there's a bigger, like a 15 or 20% increase after the second year to give them more incentive to pay. So I'm not sure what the legal thing is.
Through Mayor
Councilor
Council,
Larson.
yeah. We're following the municipal on this. It's not this township. You're in arrears 1 year, we're gonna charge you 5%. We have 1.25% added every month when people are in arrears. That continues. Yeah, we have to follow the municipal. I'll just say.
Any other questions, comments on the report? Okay, regarding the treasury report, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Campbell, second by Councillor Allen. Be it resolved that council will receive report number FC 2024-12 from the fire chief. Questions or comments? No. I know the fire chief isn't here tonight. I don't know if he's signed in on Zoom, but I'm going to just a couple comments that there was an awards night held for longstanding firemen, and 3 of them received recognition on that night. Lionel Gay for 40 years, along with his 40-year provincial long service award. Gilbert Gattery for 30 years, along with his 30-year long service award, for provincial long service award, and Jason Edwards 25 years for his long service medal. So I think something like that, we need to always take the time to recognize volunteers. These, you know, a few of this table already know what it's like, but they're getting away from the family. You take someone that's been in for 40 years, how many Christmases or birthdays or anniversaries miss? So times like this, we have to say thank you and commend them for their service. But on the last page of the fire chief's report, he said that the firefighters are struggling in responding to calls and motorists are not respecting the emergency lights. And if the fire chief was here, I'd ask him, but maybe I'll ask our town manager to reach out to him. But what can we do as council? What can we do as our town to make that, to make people more aware? I know we have signs up, but seconds matter. So if there's something that we can do, I'd like to offer that. Councilor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would we be able to put more signs of the green light flashing? Because there's still some people that don't know what the green light is for.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Signs in every community, drive from here to Toronto, you see it in every community, and still people don't pull over, so that'll be something that we can ask our town manager to look into. But I think we need to as well keep the public awareness out there in, maybe ask the enterprise to put out a free ad regarding it. And we have our bulletin that we put out quite often, we need to just get that out there. Councillor Gattard.
Maybe also make use of our webpage, put out, reminders and on the flyer.
Councillor Bouchard.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the main thing here is that it's emergency vehicles not being responded to, so it's not the green light, it's the red flashing light, the red fire truck, and when I was a fireman the last 2 years, it was brutal that we would actually have to force people off the road because they would be in front of us and they would not get out of the way, and they'd be looking at us in the mirror, you got this big fire truck coming at you behind, and they absolutely would not let us go by. To the point that at one point that we got ahead of some of those people. And they asked one of the OPP officers to charge one of these people because he would not he was driving a pickup truck and he would not let us pass. And I actually almost took out his side window at the time because I said like, there's people injured on the side of the road here and you're being an idiot, not letting us go by. And I didn't know what was going on, this and that. Then I asked one of the officers to charge him. I don't know if he got charged, but that's the kind of thing they're coming across. Not really the green light, as much as people have no respect for the fire engine whistle.
Yeah, and I myself have been in that situation where we've passed. You end up risking your volunteers' lives to pass a vehicle that's not pulling over in order to save someone's life. It makes zero sense at all. But that might be a conversation that we can also have with the OPP if we can get them to come here. It'd have to be at the right time in the right situation, but also the OPP are en route to the same accident we are. The only saving grace you have there is if we're on the way to a fire, it's on a side road, the vehicles continue, but if it's an accident where the road's closed, the individual that caused the issue is somewhere in the lineup, so. Okay. So I don't know if that's something you reach out to Guy to, what can we do to help out? I think that's a proactive approach on our behalf. With regards to the motorists not respecting the road closures, I know in the last couple of road closures we've had, we don't have barricades up. When you leave here and you go left on 11 to go south, a lot of times the road's been closed, but the sign might be up at the Y and might be down at Englehart. So if that's a provincial issue, an MTO issue, we need to enforce them to get more signs, have them nearby. I know some communities in Barrie, they've got actually barricades that sit on a swing, but we're getting road closures more and more. So
yeah,
the least amount of people that we can get on those roads quicker, get them home, the better. Councillor Allen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So 2 things. One, when you leave Matheson here and turn left to go on the bridge on 101, towards Whole Tire or the Logship, whatever, there was no road closure signs on the 101, the last road closure, until you got to 572. And then it was from 572 on. That road was closed, but there was no sign. So as soon as you left Matheson, if you didn't go to Highway 11, you had no idea if you weren't paying attention. Also, a secondary thing, any of the people that are caught on these closed roads, when they are closed, some companies expect you to be at work no matter what. And they don't care if your road's closed. And so I know this because I've seen people who have been told that if you're not in, you're gonna get fired. And your job is so important, this place needs to run 24/7 or we lose X amount of dollars per hour. I have seen this happen before where people have driven on closed roads because they're in fear of losing their jobs. That's an issue, and I believe, I don't know what the OPP can do, what we can do, but it needs to go back to the employer that their job isn't that important for them to have to drive through that, because I know 101 is closed all the time, and back when Holton Holloway were open, the road would be closed, but in order to get to the mill, you had to go, and the mill had to run 24/7 or else. So there was a lot of times where I seen many people on the highway driving there, and it's not right because the employer expects them to be there and they will be punished if they're not. So I think the employer needs to reap some of the consequences when these employees are taking the chances and going on these roads.
Mr. Lee.
Can everyone hear me?
I can.
If I may, it sounds like an overall lack of it's either disrespect or lack of awareness for the rules of the highway. So what I can do is I can formally reach out to both the OPP and the MTO and ask them for their opinion, information on the crime statistics, because people aren't following the rules. The MTO and OPP should be aware of it. So I can get an official response that I can bring back to them.
Good. My last question for the fire chief's report. And it was just touched on by Councilor Bouchard, is the increase in unauthorized vehicles, but I guess as we work out the lease agreement with 420 and Fifth Avenue, municipal compliance officer can figure out the happy medium as to where everybody can park and who can park, and might just be signage or even the barricades. So that half belongs to the laneway and half belongs to the fire department, and signage and public awareness again. That's about all we can do. But first and foremost, the parking has to be there for the fire department. You don't want a fireman driving around looking for parking on the way to attend a fire. So that's it for my comments on the fire chief. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, second by Councillor Allen. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-01 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal clerk for the township of Black River Masson is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 14th day of January. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay. Moved by Councillor Charbonneau, second by Councillor Campbell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-02 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal treasurer for the township of Black River Masson is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed its 14th day of January 2025. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Charbonneau. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-03 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal deputy treasurer for the township of Black River Masson is hereby read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Questions, comments? Councillor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. Is it a full-time permanent position?
This is to replace James Davidson, Mr. Craig Davidson, to replace Craig Davidson, who was here during the municipal appointees time. So it's on a contract basis.
Okay.
And I guess you could just say pretty much it's just to get us to having our budget on time. That's something we were pushing for back in November and December, that we want the budget on time.
Yeah.
So we're in fear of not having the budget on time, and that's something that we promised, something we need in order to move the town forward. So that's what this is. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Counselor Campbell, second by Counselor Allen, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-04, being a bylaw to adopt a asset management plan for the township of Black River, Masson, is hereby read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 14th day of January 2025. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. That brings us under unfinished business. Before we go to unfinished business, just take a minute because we have our new staff here and the public that's online and the public that's in the crowd, just so that everybody's aware that sitting in the middle of there is Sonia Larson, our treasurer. So welcome back, Sonia. She's moved from here to there and I think is coming back to the front soon. And Juan Julia is our town manager. So welcome back again to you. And sitting next to Sonia on the right is Gilles Giguère, our director of public services. So welcome. We look forward to quite a few good years with all of you. And to my right, our municipal compliance officer, James. Few less hairs over the last 6 months, but we'll make it, eh? 11A, RFQs, discussion from Councilor Charbonneau. I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to make sure that these go out. I would actually like to put a motion on the table to get these out before the next meeting. I understand they're written, they're just gonna be put out there.
Yeah, I will comment on the one, the RFQ for the forensic audit is written. And that's all I know. The other two, I'll leave to whoever wants to tackle the answer here.
Yeah, they're
Just about finished. So would be, you want them, so what can we do as a date to, that they will be, I guess we're gonna put them in their usual places. We'll put them on the website and, Enterprise, and a couple of newspapers, and then some bigger centers. So what can we do as a date for confirming they'll be out? Anybody?
Before January
Rock,
28th.
paper, scissors. And Mr. Lefebvre.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Was there any feedback on the RFQ as I distributed it? Is everybody content with it? I didn't receive feedback, so that one I can have out immediately, and then, like I mentioned, the format will follow that one, the other two, so I can collaborate with the town manager and have that out.
Forensic audit, I thought was a good. So I'm in favor of, yeah, all three could go right away. So right away, meaning this week or, yeah, okay. That's satisfactory.
Very good.
And your next question, 11B, would be a bulldozer conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just had a lot of people approach me, asking me how much it actually costs to repair a bulldozer, because everybody's kind of in the dark, and we had some quotations, and then all of a sudden we didn't go ahead with those quotations, and now the bulldozer's running and nobody knows how much it costs. It's, you know, in the report, it just says a fraction of the cost. It's just, nobody knows, and everybody's curious, and I think people have the right to know.
Yep, absolutely. Is that something we can answer, or are we gonna put on the Director of Public Services to bring back an answer? Do you know the answer?
I don't have the dollar amount.
Well, that's I think what he's looking for. Mr. Lefebvre?
My mic's not working, but through you, Mr. Mayor, I can tell you that this might be old news. I'm not sure if it was in the report or not. But the fluids were changed for the transmission a couple of times, a couple of filters and quite a few man hours, but save for that, there was no additional cost. So, I'm sure, the Director of Public Services could bring back something a little bit more specific if you'd like, but that's the gist of it.
So is that something you want?
Yeah,
Okay, so put that on the list for the Director of Public Services to bring that back to the next meeting.
one more thing for the bulldozer.
Yep.
I've had, again, multiple people calling me, asking me why we're still using a contractor to push the dumps when our bulldozer is repaired. So if we can look into that for next meeting.
Absolutely. Do we know the answer as to why we're still contracting a bulldozer? Yeah, you want to wait and answer? or you-
If I can for you, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to have that discussion with the supervisor on hand today. He was away today and his replacement, I had a brief conversation, but that information wasn't passed on, so it's actually on my docket to talk to the supervisor first thing tomorrow morning.
Fair enough. So we can have that for next week or 2 weeks from now.
If we can just have a confirmation for next meeting to make sure that everybody knows that our bulldozer is doing their work and.
Mr. Jagger?
I will bring back confirmation for the next meeting, but before then, I will send out an email to staff, mayor and council on our findings tomorrow. As I think it warrants it and it shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, Chairman?
No, thank you.
Anyone else comments on the bulldozer? Brings us to a question or answering question period. We have 3 answers from last meeting. The first one was a 2-part question. The manhole covers in Whole Tire was an issue, was raised by Daniel Cairns and our Director of Public Services. This is his first week, so you can only imagine that his desk is buried in paperwork, so we'll give him another couple days to look into why the issue, is it consistent, is it intermittent, and where, and all that, and then we'll be able to get an answer from that. And the second one was regarding 447 Ross, and that has been now passed on to our municipal compliance officer, who is now in his role full-time, and we'll be able to get a expeditious answer on that as to where we stand with that. And then Councillor Allen also had some other concerns regarding some of the bylaw, and I'm sure that'll all fall into that same report for our answer. Steve Wilson, who's here tonight, had a question about the sale of land, and I think it was Copper Road per se, but you weren't here for the beginning of it, Steve, and what it is, we're getting a report done for Pine Road as to how and why and legal, not legal, yes, no, all those answers. We're getting that brought forward to council. So Pine Road, that would be the similar situation to Copper Road. So that report's coming to us on our next council meeting of January 28th. So if you attend that meeting, you'll get a better answer than the one I just gave you. And the last question was from Ray Durham. It was regarding the town office sale. And that was done through a direct sale, which has been at the council table quite a few times now. So we've discussed it many times. And in the direct sale, that we may opt to get an appraisal if we felt necessary. Due to the economic possibilities that this sale holds, we proceeded with the sale. And we've determined that the tax revenue that we will receive over the next 2 years should compensate for the sale price. But that's not even taking into consideration the economic benefits of a store, a restaurant, and a hotel on that one piece of land. Add in that increased tourism, more recreation events that we can provide in our town, the domino of new effects along the highway, as well as job creation from 3 new businesses. So I can just, I guess, just answer, Mr. Durham by saying that council we're celebrating this sale. It's a huge step forward for our town. At this point, I'll open the floor for questions from residents. And if you want to stand up and indicate which ward you're in so that we know how to answer your question properly, and then we'll go from there. Frequent flyer, Steve.
There's a lot of questions to be asked, Mr. Demet. So I'm Steve Wilson. I'm sure everybody knows that. I live in Ward 2. Really don't, I didn't have time today to prepare this, and it's pretty complicated. Mr. Durham's inquiry at the last meeting piqued my interest a little bit about the sale of 467 Fourth Avenue. And it seems like the more I delved into it, it just created more and more and more questions. So I looked under section 270 of the Ontario Municipal Act of the definition of surplus land. I don't see where that fits in it anywhere except for one possible category where it claims if it's landlocked, which in reality the property is. And then you only can sell it to the person next door, otherwise you're just being a PR selling to somebody who can't get the door. Anyways, I didn't see anywhere where it falls under what would be described as surplus land. And then I looked into the direct sale bylaw that you just recently passed. Why? Why couldn't it have gone through the regular procedures of being put out there to public tender? Blah, blah, blah. Because now you have a bylaw there that if any surplus land comes up, if you choose so not to, the public doesn't have the right to bid on any of it. So I think that bylaw you made there, that direct purchase bylaw, should be rescinded.
Okay, we'll get you your answer, but I'll tell you the bylaw is from 2007. We didn't create the direct sale
Oh,
bylaw.
sorry, I thought it had been created by you
No,
guys.
it's
Okay,
from
my
2007.
Okay,
So it's an existing bylaw that allows direct sale of a land. And there's a whole bunch of issues around it, and one of them is for the economic benefit of a municipality.
all right. So there's where
Yeah.
you feel it fits under sellable land. Because
Yes.
it'll do the community much more good being developed than as a town hall.
Yeah, at this point, we're getting 0 tax revenue from that piece of land. And like I said, I'm not a tax expert, but within 2 years, we will have recouped all of our money on that individual piece of property.
Still goes back to my first question, now, how come you had to implement, I thought you guys put that bylaw in, my bad.
Nope.
Why did you need to implement that? Why couldn't you have gone through the regular procedure? Is this time sensitive or something?
Yes, time sensitive.
So are other situations that seem to be laying around. But anyways, you seem to have answered my question there. Why would you move before you got anywhere to move would be my next question.
Time sensitive. We
Back
have,
to the same thing.
yeah, we have an individual, a corporation that wants to build, they want to get in right away. So, their renovations that they can complete can be done during the winter. So if we wait till the summer, as you can appreciate, someone in the building industry is busy in the summer.
Absolutely.
And so they're trying to take advantage of the slow time of the winter. So they express that to us, and we're doing everything we can, so.
It just doesn't. In my opinion, to the public, it looks a little hasty. It looks a little like it was already all planned or something. It looks unusual.
Well,
Don't know what else. to say.
okay, I can try and get you an answer as to why, but I can't comment on how the public feels.
Yeah,
But I
no,
can tell you that these 7 individuals, sitting at the table here, there's no personal gain in this. I know there's been some comments out there
Yes.
that we're doing this for personal gain.
I was hoping not to go down that road,
Yep.
but there's the reason, one of the things I
Yep.
can.
There's no personal gain, so, I would challenge anybody that wants to comment that we're doing this for personal gain. Absolutely not, absolutely not.
Good question.
Well, can I ask the floor before we,
Absolutely.
any other questions or comments from the floor?
Yes.
Okay,
member of the newly formed committee, Friends of the Madison Railway Station. So I'm here, giving a little spiel, as to what our committee is hoping for. So as the public was recently made aware of the impending demolition of the Matheson Railway Station, which happened through notification surrounding property owners, and the committee has been formed, called the Friends of the Matheson Railway Station, to pause the demolition until we can explore other avenues. Al Spacek, he is the chair of the ONTC, is aware of our efforts and suggested the request to stop the demolition should come from the township. The Heritage Act states the process only requires the drafting of a statement of cultural heritage, value, and interest, a council motion, and an advertisement in a local publication. Designation can be combined with a heritage property standards bylaw to enable a municipality to prevent demolition by neglect. So my question, Mayor and Council, is would council be willing to support with a letter of agreement to designate the Matheson Railway Station as a building of cultural heritage? And is Mayor and Council willing to meet with this committee?
Okay. I guess that's not an answer you want in 2 weeks from now. I can't speak on behalf of council whether we will support you or not support you. I don't see why we can't, we can't entertain the idea. If one or two councillors wanted to join myself, maybe we could meet in a couple of days just to get the whole gist of it, that we could take that, give it to our town manager, and he can distribute it in a more formal package for the rest of council and
I do have a package. for
Okay.
council.
okay, could we do that then? And then we'll make our every effort that at least everybody reads it and makes your own decision. But time is of the essence, so how would we handle that? Because 2 weeks from now, if we were to make a resolution, it could be rubble.
Yeah, the impending doom here for our station.
Mhm.
We have to stop this wrecking ball from.
Okay. Okay, if you can leave us the information tonight, we'll all look at it, and then we'll touch base with Hanji in a day or two and figure out a game plan as to our comments, and I'm sure we'll have questions for you. Is that lets us start, at least we'll get going, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is that satisfactory?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we'll do that. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions regarding the package we're about to receive before we get it, or? No?
I should have also asked the question, like, everybody is aware of the demolition?
Any other questions before we go back to Steve?
Yes, I'm
Oh.
for Village Hall, I'm on Ward 3, I wanna know is, we have a real bylaw officer there?
We now are Mr. Lefebvre has now moved back into his original position of municipal.
I'm asking, because people are still parking at the very corner of McDougal and Fifth by the old bank and CBIC, and you have to come up that street, you gotta pull away out, somebody's gonna get hit.
Okay.
Maybe you should go around and have, because there says no sign saying no parking at the corner, right?
There is. Yeah, it's up against the building, eh?
No, it's right there on the street, but there's still park there, there's still, that's,
Oh, okay, okay,
still
yep,
see the sign, but it's still parked.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna get hit.
okay. You have that noted, Mr. Lefebvre? Okay, thank you. I guess, Mr. Wilson, question?
Yeah, so again, Steve Wilson, Ward 2, I can't remember what meeting, but just a little while ago, you deemed 1175 Highway 11 South as surplus land, correct? 80 acres on the way out of town there, used to be a municipal park.
Yes,
Canoe Club's got their garage in there, ski hill building. Have you looked into the history of how we ended up owning that property? Cause I'm pretty, like, we're going back to when I was just a wee little kid or whatever, but I'm pretty positive that land was donated to the township under a stipulation of it be used for recreational use. Are you allowed to sell it when it's been given to you under the stipulation of recreational use? I know it's 40 years ago. Nonetheless, you might want to look into it before you find yourself back that money.
No, fair enough.
So that's my question.
Okay,
Has
thank you.
anyone looked into the history of how we acquired that 80 acres? It's been pretty dormant now for the last 20+ years, let's say.
Yep.
And maybe, well, anyways, we'll just leave it at that.
Yep, no, I got your question. Thank you.
Oh, and what, well, that. Yeah, I should have been up there, and the meetings are going all night.
Okay, any other questions for tonight? All right. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Campbell, be it resolved that the January 14th, 2025 meeting of council is hereby adjourned at 7:34 PM. All in favor? Carried.